Like and subscribe now, or you're gonna have bad luck this week.
When you think of a home, you picture something cozy and comfortable, right? Well, some people like to play with death, even when it comes to their houses. The homes we are about to show you were built for people who love a good adrenaline rush and aren't afraid of heights, water, or their house potentially collapsing into a lake at any time. Let's have a look at 10 of the riskiest houses in the world. Number 10. In the middle of a river. Building a home in the middle of a river seems like a no-brainer. It is easily one of the worst places to build a home, as there's no chance of mobility. You cannot stop people from standing out. You might be surprised how many people have built houses on a river, not just simple single-story houses. Some have built mansions in the middle of rivers. The St. Lawrence River has small islands in the middle that are full of small houses. Some of these islands are hardly bigger than a giant rock, and people have still built homes on them. Due to global warming, there has been a rise in the sea level in different parts of the world. Should the St. Lawrence rise too, these houses will be easily flooded, and investments worth hundreds and thousands of dollars will be washed away, literally. In harsh weather, it would be hard for these residents to reach the mainland during some event of an emergency. You can't ask a person to swim while having a heart attack. Number 9. On the mountainside. To have some sort of privacy, people build houses in some of the most isolated places in the world, but the quest for privacy shouldn't overcome safety. Some people dream of living on mountains because of how peaceful and isolated they are from the rest of the world, but living on the edge of a mountain? That isn't for everybody. One of the best examples of some of the worst places to build a house is the Zhukong Temple, also known as the Hanging Temple in China. It does exactly what the name suggests. Hang on the side of a mountain. This temple is 246 feet above the ground. It was once used as a monastery, but now it is mostly just a tourist spot. To reach the nearest town, you need to drive 40 miles, which shows how isolated it really is. Would you ever want to live here? Number 8. Hanging by the lake. If you're in Wisconsin and you head for Lake Michigan, then you might happen to stumble across this bizarre house that is the product of the rampant imagination of the architect Harry Weiss. He basically got up one morning and decided that he was going to build a house that overlooks the lake, but a little bit too close for our liking. This house is called Shadow Cliff and was built in 1969, and it's more or less just a big rusty box made of metal jutting out over the edge of a lake, with just a few metal beams for support. Though as of right now, it hasn't actually collapsed and fallen into the lake yet. It's probably only a matter of time until the support beams rust away, and whoever is in there is left hanging by the lake, literally. Number 7. Arctic tundra. Building a home on one end of the world in the Arctic tundra is not a choice for most, but some people love to live there too. Arctic tundra is one of the coldest, vast, and isolated regions of the world. Like in the ocean, you cannot see anything but a thin ice sheet and water. The climate is too harsh to provide a comfortable lifestyle, but as you expected, some people are crazy enough to live in these conditions too. There are many towns in the Arctic and Antarctic regions where people live in freezing temperatures. In fact, there are some places where the temperature drops to minus 56 degrees Fahrenheit on a normal daily basis. In such cold conditions, everyday resources like water, electricity, and food are a daily problem. And no internet! Would you ever want to live in such conditions? Number 6. At the foot of a volcano. Volcanoes are the cause of one of the biggest natural disasters in human history, so it would obviously be dangerous to build a home near a volcano. Because of the fact that volcanoes are very common in the world, a huge amount of people live within the danger zones of volcanoes, including the people of Mount Merapi in Indonesia. Violent volcanoes such as Vesuvius and Mount St. Helens tend to explode and throw up several cubic miles of ash and rock. A 30-centimeter thick ash layer can be heavy enough to cause roofs to collapse. After an eruption, pyroclastic flows can engulf a town in superheated steam and poisonous sulfur dioxide or asphyxiating carbon dioxide, which can be very harmful to people. Residents of Mount Merai live just 4 miles away from the volcano. The volcano is not a quiet one either, as it has already erupted 60 times in the past 500 years and has caused a lot of damage to the villages nearby. Number 5. On a cliff. Living in a house on the edge of a cliff seems like a lovely thing in many ways, and indeed, there are many beautiful houses perched on the edges of cliffs. You get permanently uninterrupted water views, seclusion, and that sort of dangerous, powerful feeling that comes from standing on top of something and looking down at the world. But then again, in a lot of cases, there's always a chance that the cliff could break off, causing your house to fall into a lake or into the sea. Due to water hitting the cliff at all times, there's a big chance of erosion and the cliff softening, which results in the cliff breaking off, putting the lives of people who live on the edge at risk. Take the Burling Gap in East Sussex, for example. Due to erosion, the cliffside started to give away, resulting in parts of houses and apartments falling into the sea. High tides are cliffside houses' worst enemy, so it is never a good idea to build a home on a cliff. Number 4. Beside an explosive lake. Building a house on the bank of a lake doesn't sound so bad, and many people have built houses and restaurants on them, but unlike other normal lakes in the world, Lake Kivu can harm and maybe kill everyone within a few miles radii. Under the surface of the lake, there are about 300 billion cubic meters of carbon dioxide and 60 billion cubic meters of methane gas. Normally, the gas stays underwater and does not surface the upper layer. There are many gas extraction sites in the lake, too. If there is a disturbance in the lake, the methane gas and carbon dioxide will form a layer of cloud gases, which would be very harmful to people who live close to the lake. There are many restaurants which would be affected too. Building a house here is definitely not a good idea. Number 3. Underwater. From the tallest buildings in the world to underwater hotels, Dubai has built some of the most expensive and brilliantly designed things in the world. Dubai's man-made islands, known as the World, has taken the architecture world by storm. They have also built floating homes, which are something extraordinary and frankly dangerous. Known as the floating seahorse, this piece of architecture actually floats in the water, but the danger is that some parts of the home is completely underwater. It took the team 18,000 hours of research, design, and engineering to model this house. The floating home is deemed safe, but it is unsure how safe it actually is. They are still under construction and just a model has been built. The underwater home consists of one master bedroom, one bathroom, and 270 feet of living space. It does seem like a cool concept, but the safety of the house is yet to be proven. Number 2. Tornado Alley. Building a home that is prone to natural disasters is never a good idea, and if you decide to build a home in a place where there is a high probability of tornadoes, then only God can save you. Some places in the world are more dangerous than others when it comes to tornado disasters, but Tornado Alley is literally the worst. It is one of the worst places to build a home because, as you probably expected from the name, Tornado Alley is very famous for its tornadoes. No other location in the United States experiences more tornadoes than this region, and it isn't just the massive number of tornadoes, but also how big and destructive they are. The tornadoes can destroy entire buildings and ruin homes, leaving just the rubble behind. So it's never a good idea to build a home this prone to tornadoes. Number 1. On a sinking island. Owning a home on an island is a dream for many, but only a few get to achieve it. In recent years, people have been choosing to go to remote tropical islands to spend their vacations, honeymoons, and be closer to nature. But not all islands are created equal, and building a home on an island can be quite risky. People who are interested in geography know that most tropical islands are prone to tropical storms that can create hurricane winds and even tsunamis. Even if the islands are designed to withstand those conditions, some islands are actually sinking due to water rising because of global warming. The Maldives is one of the most iconic oases in the world and a dream spot for many, but the islands are slowly sinking into the sea and nothing can help them. Support walls and barriers are built around the islands to keep out the water, but it does not help much, and it barely slows down the sinking process. It would definitely not be a good idea to build a home on a sinking island. Maybe it's time to choose a different location for a vacation too, like your own backyard. Would you ever want to live in any of these places? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.